Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of RJG Games. This is our second installment, and from the last time we were here, I actually showed you the Atari 130XE. Now, the name is a little confusing because sometimes they call it the EX. I don't know, but it's a nice little console. Basically, the story behind this one is that it came out. It was the third interpretation of the Atari 800. And the Atari 800 was a more beefed up version of the Atari 400, which was more of a computer version of the Atari console 5200. So this one here, I was really excited when I got it. And last time I mentioned this on the last episode, I mentioned the game Pac-Man, which I got right here. Now, I'll give you guys this. The games for these consoles didn't come out flashy. And actually, this is an Atari 800 cartridge, which works with the 130XE. And when they released these, because it was more meant for a computer, they decided not to make it flashy. The Atari 2600 version, the cover, it was okay, but the one for the 5200, that's the one that was kind of wow. The cover on the cartridge, and those were big cartridges too. Now for the Atari 400 and 800, they shared the same cartridges, and this is what they had. And this is compatible, and it does fit on the back of the Atari 130XE. Now, this one here needs a little bit of TLC, and the reason is because some of the keys stick. And in this case is the G and some of the other ones. Now, a lot of times you can't tell that the key is stuck, like this one with the G. It's clearly all the way down. But some of the other keys, even after you press them and they come up, they tend to get stuck internally. And sometimes you kind of got to clean them up. Now, I'll show you right now. I have this connected. I got a monitor output pin, which are very standard for computers that came out late 80s to early to mid 90s. And basically what it is just let me make sure I don't get this wrong, a 5-pin connector that connects to the back. And this actually will fit on a Commodore 64, and I believe it'll fit on one of the Texas Instruments. I can't remember which one, but it will fit on it. And it connects in the back, and you basically power it on. And as you can see, G is stuck. And it won't let out. So basically what needs to be done with this console is it needs to be opened up and fixed up a little bit. Primarily, the first thing that I'm going to try and do, let me turn it off right here so we don't have that distraction there. What I'm going to do is open it up and kind of clean up the keys a little bit internally. Maybe that'll release. Also, part of opening it up is to make sure that I get all the dust and any gunk. Maybe there's spider webs in there. There might even be some spiders living in there. First thing I would recommend for people to do when they get a console like this, open it up and dust it out. Even if you don't know any other kind of maintenance, that's the first thing you'll want to do. Now I'm going to show you guys some of the things that I use to maintain some of my systems when I buy them. And this actually I got recently, and the main reason that I got this was for my computer keyboard. It gets dusty, and I really don't want to wipe it down all the time. So if it's just dusty, this little thing right here, this little vacuum cleaner, comes in very handy. It's cool. It's got a little brush, and it charges through micro USB. It's connected to your computer, let it charge, and you're ready to dust off your keyboard or even some retro consoles or retro computers. It's very handy. Came in very, very handy for a lot of things, especially once I start opening these up. Now, another thing that I bought for these is a set of brushes. And I got these off of Amazon, and you can get them on eBay as well. And these are brushes. Now, the one thing you don't want to do, you don't want to get metal brushes to clean the insides of these, because you can damage the circuit board, and you don't want to do that. So plastic is fine. They will wear down over time, and just buy new ones. It's nice to have some of these right here because they're gets into those areas that are a little hard to reach, and you can dust them off with that. If you've got a little bit more stubborn stuff to clean up, you can use something a little more sturdier. So all of these come in very handy, and I like the fact that this kit in particular came with these right here. So if you drop anything in there, or there's any connectors you need to disconnect that are very delicate, these come in very handy for that. Now when you open it up, one of the cool things that I've been using to clean it up is isopropyl. I think that's how it's pronounced. Basically 99.9% alcohol. Now this isn't the stuff you can just buy at Walgreens. Usually that one's more like 94%. Some of them is even lower. The reason you don't want to use that for logic boards is because with time it'll corrode because it does have water. You want to use 99.9% alcohol on it, and this will evaporate rather easily, and it's great for cleaning up those boards. Any gunk on there or anything, just put a little bit of that and just scrub in there and get rid of all that dirt. Sometimes there's even a little bit of corrosion already happening in there. Get rid of all of that. Another thing I want to show you guys, just little kits I bought for opening these up, and these aren't so much for opening it up. Usually for that I just use a regular Phillips screwdriver, but once you get inside you start dealing with tiny little screws, and having something like this handy to be able to remove those comes in very handy. So I always like having something like this nearby, some pliers, because you never know what you might have to remove a little forcibly. Now, along with this, I also have, this is from the Atari 800, but it will work with the 130XC. This is the Atari 410, which is a tape player. For those of you who don't know what tape is, what a cassette tape is, we used to listen to music with these. And these were actually used with tones that actually, the computers would save data as tones. And depending on the tone is how many ones and zeros the computer would interpret. So a lot of programs were actually stored on this. My brother's very first computer, a Commodore 64, this is the first kind of storage he had. He had a tape drive for that. And it takes a long time to load a program that way. Now the Atari 1050 is actually the disk drive. And this one actually came out when the Atari 800 XL came out. And this was a step up from the 810. And basically what it was, it's a little faster. It loads more information, a little more. I don't think it was a double-sided, double density disk capacity, but I think it was double-sided but not double density. That's the, I think that's the catch. Or maybe just double density and not double-sided. I don't know, I'll figure it out at some point, but it's nice to have this. And let me show you guys how it connects. And this right here is the serial cable that these devices used back in the day, and as you can tell, the cassette one has one as well. So you can actually daisy chain them. I could connect this to the disk drive, and then the disk drive connected to the back of the 130XC. And if I need to load something from here, there's just a certain command you give for it to load from cassette, and another command you give to it to load from the disk drive. Now the nice thing about this one is that it came with BASIC built in. The 800 did not have BASIC. You actually have to buy a cartridge like this one that had BASIC. So pretty much right off the bat, it had a very rudimentary operating system to be able to give commands to load from the disk or the cassette, but that's it. So basically it depended on the program that it came with in order for it to run. When this one came out, it included BASIC, so right off the bat you could start programming it, but you still needed to save either to a disk drive or a cassette drive. So whatever you did, if you didn't have this, when the moment you power down, all that typing you did to run the program would just disappear. Actually, it's funny that this power supply powers the disk drive, because it's the very same model that powers the Atari 800. So I had one of these to operate the Atari 800, but I did not have another one to operate the disk drive. So I went ahead and ordered another one online, and I got this one very recently. So now I have two. They both work. They both power it on, but I haven't tested it to load here because of the key getting stuck. I can't load anything on there. So I'm going to be doing that, fixing that. But before I get into that, big shout out to my friend Dan. My birthday was this past August, and I actually spent it in Vegas. And my friend went back home to Georgia, and he had some. We're both Trekkies. We love Star Trek, and he had this. I collect, as you can tell, I collect a lot of stuff, and he had this from the longest time, and he actually gave this to me. So shout out to Dan for the Riker sweater here. Look at that. It's very good. This is definitely a collectible for me. I'm not gonna wear this. I don't fit into it anyway. So it's definitely something that I'm gonna keep. At some point, I'm probably gonna hang it up because definitely the next generation is one of my favorite Star Trek eras. In case anybody's wondering, which is my favorite Star Trek TV show, Deep Space Nine, the best. If you haven't seen it, you should. I'm gonna make a little bit of room here, and open this up and see exactly what's in there, and what we can do to make this work. And here's the top. Now this came out fairly easily, and from what I can tell, this has been opened up before. And that's a whatchamacallit, an inspector writing there. I think that's actually indication that someone opened this up before, which is not so surprising. There's a lot of mods you can do to these. Actually, this one in particular, you can actually up the memory and actually put a flash drive in there to be able to run a lot of different programs, ROMs of games and whatnot. So, it's one of those things that's like, okay, it makes sense. So this right here, here's where the keyboard connects into the logic board, or the motherboard, or the circuit board, whichever. I know a lot of people out there that are Apple aficionados like calling it logic board, and I kind of referred to it recently because I fixed a MacBook Air, and I kind of babble on about the logic board, but it really is, for these, is more of a circuit board, because this before we called them motherboards. So here we go. Alright, and this is a clear indication that it has been opened before. Actually, it looks like the keyboard was switched out at some point. This is a piece of cardboard that was used instead of the whatever it came with to hold that in place. And pip printing, someone used a business card to use this as a placeholder for this keyboard to hold in place. But a lot of times you do what you can when you don't have the necessary piece. So overall, because this was open before, I'm almost willing to bet that this is actually pretty decently clean inside. To where, and I can tell that at some point there might have been some rust on this shield here, but that's not the case anymore. It actually looks like it's actually clean. And these were shielded like this because of the FCC back in the in the days in the late 80s. Well, pretty much all through the 80s and the early 90s. And yeah, definitely, this has been cleaned in the past. So it was definitely open. Wow. I'm going to show you guys. This is, this looks amazing. This looks very beautiful. And it has been fixed. Actually, it's been modded. It's been, you can tell right there, these are all fixes that were done to this to bypass some of the issues that these originally came with. That's actually a RAM fix right there. Wow. I've only seen videos about it, but I've never seen it out front. This is actually very good, a good example of how to fix these. It's very nicely done, very well done. When shopping for these, when you go out looking for something like this to have, definitely if it's already been modded and fixed, that's a plus. I know for a lot of collectors, it's like they want it pristine, they want it in the original format, but a lot of times if you buy them in their original form, they're either already not working or they're ready to crash and burn big time. So it's nice to be able to have some of these mounts already done and out of the way. And I know people usually sometimes when they get these, they don't like to lock the shield back in place. I do it because when I move these, I don't like risking this rattling around in there. So I just put it back in there. So let's go ahead and move this back here. This is actually not flat from the bottom, but this was dusty at some point. So definitely seeing some serious cleaning up. Now if it's just an easy cleaning on these, just a regular wipe will do. Nice thing about this is that it's not yellowed, so this was definitely not kept by a window in direct sunlight. So that's a big plus. Now with these, you want to be careful. You definitely want to give it a good scrub, but you don't want to lean too much into it where you might break the plastic because these are not easy to replace. I mean, if you find, definitely once you get one of these, if you can find a non-working one on eBay or on a garage sale, definitely buy it and keep it handy because at some point you might not know if you need to replace the actual case. Now for this one in particular, I bought these in case I use alcohol. You can use, again, it's not metal or anything, so you can use these just to soak it up and it's fine. But right now, kind of glad, happy didn't get to use any alcohol to get this clean. It actually looks very nice. That right there. Got this here. Now I kind of foresaw this, that it might be a problem. This one right here, I tried cleaning it, and it's going to go a little further inside and see exactly what's causing those keys. You can actually open up the back. We can remove that too to do that, but I definitely want to fix that and keep it as a spare keyboard to fix later on. So what I did, I was able to find a replacement keyboard on eBay, and we're going to use that instead. And you can actually see right here the difference. This one's cleaner, and this one's I get it all clean. It'll look as nice and pristine as this one. But this actually probably came out from a 65XE. And the Atari 65XE is basically the souped up version of the Atari 800. So the parts are compatible. So we'll put this in and see how it works. Right, so the difference between that one and this one is that I'm not gonna need this little this little MacGyver uh, fix they did to hold that keyboard's ribbon cable in place. This one actually has the part that obviously this one is missing that would have kept it in place. So actually, once it goes in there, it holds on very well. So let's drop this in. In place right there. Looks very nice. Now let's put this top back on. This needs a little bit of cleaning on the spacebar. It actually looks like the spacebar has some scratches, which this one doesn't. So at some point, once I get this one all nice and clean, I might switch out this spacebar for this one, just to have it all look nice and neat. So let's turn it around and start putting the screws back in. Here we go, look at that. That looks really nice. Alright, so let's go ahead and put these away. Always keep track of all of your tools, because one day you might need them in a flash and you might not find them, and then what do? Go ahead and do that. By the way, this is my roommate's pumpkin. He's entering a pumpkin carving contest. Best of luck, definitely. So I decided to ask him if I could put it here since Halloween's right around the corner. Of course, drinking my pumpkin spice. It's not a latte, it's just pumpkin spice coffee. So, trying to be fancy, but not really. Here we go. Okay, let's go ahead and plug this back in. Here we go, going into the self-test. Memory. Let's see. And basically, these are the kind of tests you want to run on these. And it's nice, actually, that the 130XC has it built in, because the Atari 800 doesn't have a self-test program. You actually have to load it. And I think one of them comes in cartridge. But if there's something wrong with it, of course, the program might not load properly, and that's a clear indication that there's something wrong. So I run this before. It's good, but it's slow. Pac-Man. So there it is for now. Got it up and running. At some point, I will be doing a demonstration of the DOS for Atari, which I got the discs buried back there somewhere. It's only one disc actually. It's several books showing you how to work it. It has some similarities to MS-DOS, but yet it has its own command structure. So once you kind of see the similarities between the two, it's a little easier to navigate, but it's still not not exactly the same as MS-DOS, which I kind of miss. I loved working with MS-DOS back in the day, but once Windows 95 came out, that became its own beast and just kind of took over everything. Now, some announcements that came out recently. We mentioned this in the last video about how LA Comic Con was announcing that we're going to have their convention in December. Lo and behold, last week they announced they're postponing the event until September of next year. What a big surprise, right? So, kind of knew that was going to happen. Don't know why they went ahead and did it, and they pre-sold tickets. Now, if you bought some tickets for LA Comic Con, let us know in the comments below how they're handling that. If they're going to do refunds or if they're just going to move your admission to next year. Because I'm really surprised they went ahead and did a pre-sale with things the way they were, and it was obvious that it wasn't going to happen. So I'm really curious how they're proceeding to get you guys, either a refund or just pushing that till next year. I know, like for Comic Con, I think it was optional. They told people that if they wanted a refund, they could have it, or if they just wanted to push their admission to Comic Con next year for San Diego. I know I had mine pushed, and I'm keeping it that way. Hopefully things will be up and running. Same thing for WonderCon. That got canceled pretty early on during the pandemic. And the same thing, they offered people either a refund or to push their admission to next year. Mine just went automatically to next year. Hopefully things will be back up and running by then. I miss conventions. I was not able to go to a single convention this year. I could have gone to LA Comic Con. I opted not to, kind of regretting it now because that's my way out of the house and to interact with other people other than work when I'm working, or friends that I see casually around here. And that would have been a lot of fun. Now, a lot of places are opening back up. Universal City Walk, it's been open for a while. Downtown Disney, so those are places that people can go and relax a little bit. They have limited attendance, so I recommend go during the week in the mornings when it's emptiest. And if you're going to be doing any shopping with the holidays coming up, get it out of the way early. Don't wait until Black Friday and on, because that's going to be crazy. And again, they're going to be limiting how many people get into these stores, so you don't want to get caught in all of that. So do your shopping either online, but if you need to get out of the house, it's a great time to do it right now. Head early in the day and during the week and take care of things. So everybody, Atari 130XC, definitely going to be doing a lot with this, going to be getting a lot of games for this. I really wish that I would have got the Atari 800 when I was a kid instead of the console, the Atari 5200. Would have been able to do a lot more, and I would have been able to leave my brother's Commodore 64 alone if I would have had my own computer. So there, to 8-year-old me, I should have done my research, but no internet back then, so there we go. So everybody, again, thank you for checking us out. Second installment. Please comment below. Let us know what you would like to see or what would you like for me to talk about. I am working on getting guest spots on here so that we can have other people give you advice on either cosplay or video games, new releases, budget buys, all that kind of stuff. So guys, thank you for watching, and just want to say take care, be kind, rewind.